What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Millzy, the hometown commander, and we are back for our first opening of the March of the Machine release cycle. The place I pre-ordered my collector booster box from decided to ship it to me early, so I have it here on the week leading up to release, and I thought, why not open it up for you guys? Gonna try to have this video out on release day, Friday, April 21st. I'm very excited about March of the Machines for a lot of reasons. Of course, if you've been watching the channel, we've already been brewing already. Of course, the first week had the two decks I was the most excited to play with, but there's so much more cool stuff in this set. For anyone who's watching this video, deciding whether or not you want to buy collector's boosters, collector's boosters are pretty cool, but just as a warning, this time around, just kind of like with Strixhaven, the collector boosters this time around are going to be very Multiverse Legends heavy. So if you're not looking for a lot of the Multiverse Legends stuff, I would recommend not buying as many collector boosters. There are at least 3 slots that we can find them in here, if two, I think 2 minimum, if not more. So if you're looking for more of the set cards as opposed to the Multiverse Legends cards, I just advise going towards the set boosters and things like that. But I'm excited. There's a lot of really cool cards on the Multiverse Legends set list, as well as a few that I'm very much looking forward to. So let's do it. I always have bad luck with my collector boosters being Japanese ones where they're in the opposite order, but we are good this time. Get a bunch of foils up here in the front. Kami of Whispered Hopes, interesting card here. Kind of excited to see if this one could see some commander play. You know, often these mana dorks that have the ability to tap for more than 1 or 2 mana tend to get played very heavily. We see our first battle here in foil, Invasion of Ragatha and Disciples of the Infernal in the back. I'm generally excited about battles. What do you guys think? I'm excited to try them. I think they're going to be pretty cool, and I'm excited to see what comes of them. We got our full art foil swamp there, and we see Baral and Karizev. Really interesting card here. Interesting as an Izzet commander, but I think it's going to see a lot of play in spell slinging decks, letting you cast that spell lesser value for free. I think that's going to come up really well. And of course, we do get to make the Ragavan token. We see Heliod the Radiant Dawn, flipping over into Heliod the Warped Eclipse in the showcase frame. Kind of excited to see what comes of this guy. It looks kind of interesting, and I'm sure people will find great ways to use him. Terror of Tawashi, our another rare, to bring stuff back from the battlefield. Phyrexian Ogre, as we've seen between Phyrexian Obi-Wan. And this set, the Phyrexian type, is becoming more and more prevalent. Our first Multiverse Legends card is Wrath with a light stalwart. We see Kowendi, Pride of Femeref. This is our foil etched card. Oh, and there we go. One of the cards I was hoping to pull in this box. Jin Gataxias, the new one. And that beautiful showcase frame from Phyrexian Obi-Wan. And on the back side, we see the Great Synthesis. This is the version of this I was the most excited to pull. I think it's probably my favorite of the new Praetors, just because I love messing around in these spell singing decks, and I think Jin Gataxias does a great job in them, especially once you flip it over to the backside. And let's see what our last card is. It is Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. This is the Multiverse Legends frame, a mythic, and that beautiful constellation frame. Theros' constellation frame is one of my favorites, and I love seeing Kroxa in it. Kroxa is not my favorite card in the world, but I think it has a lot of great uses, so I'm sure a lot of people are excited for Kroxa in that frame. We have Invasion of Urgamon going into the cliff chase. There we got a beautiful foil plains. An Archpriest of Shadows, interesting backup card that can get something out of your graveyard. Kind of interesting. Cool part about that backup ability is the turn this comes in, you actually can give that to another creature, and then on every subsequent turn, Archpriest of Shadows can do it itself. I think this is a really interesting card, and I'm excited to try that out in a deck or two. We see Rankle and Torbrand in that beautiful Eldraine frame, one of my favorite frames that they've done, and so glad that they're putting this on creatures now and not just the adventure spells. Love the art there. We see Hedron Detonator. Tawashi was not our commander card. I don't think we got a commander card in the last pack. Hedron Detonator is our commander card. When an artifact enters the battlefield under control, it deals 1 damage to target opponent, and then sack 2 to exile the top card you can play it. I'm sure this is going to see a lot of use in in some particular decks. Of course, the obvious one would be something like Prosper, but I'm sure lots of artifact decks can use that one. We see Daxos, blessed by the sun, in that beautiful constellation frame. I'm not in love with the fact that they reprinted some of these, the uncommon Theros Legends in this frame, considering they already had arts in this frame, but I can understand they had to fill out the list. Here we go. Right next to it, we have Renata, Called to the Hunt. Great one there. And we see a foil Drana and Linvala in the showcase frame. Beautiful card. I love the Zendikar Rising frame, and love seeing the new cards in it. And then we have a foil Yara First of Lochthwain. So this is our Multiverse Legends card. Of course, there is a Yara in this set. That's why I went to go flip it. But then I realized I forgot that she was in the Multiverse Legends as well. So this is the Eldraine frame, of course, where her original card is printed. So not only is she in the regular set, but she's also in the Multiverse Legends set. I actually don't think I knew that. But hey, it's a pretty card. Whenever another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. So great for those aristocrat decks, being able to use her to get great value. Cosmic Hunger is a card I love because it references Koma. Koma, of course, is a great Simic commander from Kaldheim. A fun card to play against if you've never played against it. Definitely warps the game around it in other planes there. And we see Rowan's Talent. I'm very interested to see how these talent cards actually run in Commander. You know, I think the idea of enchanting a Planeswalker seems really cool. And I think depending on what you have, this could be really cool, depending on, you know, the deck that it's in. I do like this ability. Whenever you activate a loyalty ability, copy that ability. Could be useful. And I think we're going to see some more Commander-focused decks out here soon. We get a Quintorius Lore Master. We all kind of expected Quintorius to be a Planeswalker in this set because, of course, he seemed to have his spark ignite in the story, but they chose to keep him just legendary creature for this one. Love that Mystical Archive frame on a creature. Path of the Enigma. So this is one of the Wills of the Planeswalkers cards from the precons that reference the Plane Chase cards. Kind of interesting. I mean, not very good on its own right, I don't think, for 5 mana, but kind of an interesting card. We get a foil Rada Coalition Warlord. I kind of would have rather they picked a different Rada, but you see that there? We see Agar, the Freezing Flame from Kaldheim. Interesting pick here. A deck I tried to run at the time. Kind of a cool commander. Ah, oh, there we go. A borderless foil Archangel Elspeth. Look at that art. Beautiful. Making a token, getting things out from your graveyard. I expected this one to see a lot of play between a lot of formats, but what a pretty card. And then our last card is Brutaclad Telcor Engineer, a commander well known by a lot of players. Gets a reprint here, and I love this ink showcase frame. I think it looks so cool. I love that they're reprinting all of these popular Phyrexian cards in it. That Jin looks great. All of the new Praetors look great in that frame. And then in the Multiverse Legends set, we got reprinted all of the original Praetors in that frame, which they all look pretty great. And then, of course, in Phyrexian LV1, we got all those Praetors in that frame. So it's pretty cool to see some of these frames coming through and being used. For anyone that doesn't know, all of the basic tap lands, the gain lands in this set, have references to different of the planes that they're invading. I think that's pretty cool. It definitely adds a nice little bit of flavor. Invasion of Mercadia. Looks pretty cool there. I love all the battles. I mean, I'm not sure exactly where all of them are going to get played, to be 100% honest, but I'm sure some of them will see some good play. Sea Double is a card I'm very interested to try. It says the spell can't be copied. Choose one of an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. You can choose both. Copy target spell. You choose new cards for the copy, or just create a token that's a copy of target creature. This card seems like it's going to be pretty good in a lot of spell slinging decks because you either just get to copy a card, or you copy a relevant creature that you need for your strategy. I mean, I think this is probably the best when you copy something like Stormkill an Artist or something like that. They're going to be able to gain good value with. Knight Errant of Eos. Kind of interesting, a new Knight. Of course, Knight's getting lots of support in this set. Here we got this one. Conjurer's Mantle, our commander card, or the creature attacks. Look at the top 6. You may reveal a creature that shares a creature type with the attacking creature and put it in your hand. Of course, going to work best in those, going to work obviously the best in tribal decks, but a very interesting card nonetheless. We see Inga Rune Eyes from Kaldheim getting a reprint. Again, I don't know how I feel about these creatures that were originally available in their frames getting, I mean, yes, the new art is gorgeous. I don't know. I guess I don't necessarily get it, but hey, that's completely okay. And our first Halo foil, Finn the Fangbearer. I don't know if that picks up completely on camera, but that is gorgeous. Finn the Fangbearer, of course, becoming a fairly popular commander in his own right for that Death Touch tribal, and that card is pretty. It looks so good with his art. Again, of course, I just talked about things getting reprinted that were originally in that frame, and Finn is one of those, but that is pretty. Zephyr Singer, new pirate, flying, convoke, and vigilance. And when enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on each creature that convoked it. Kind of interesting, calling back to Safara or cards like that that care about those creatures. Time for Kahira, the Orphan Guard. So all of our companion cards got reprinted in the Multiverse Legends, and so here we have a foil-etched version of it. And that's our, so we can actually get a foil etch card in the last slot. So that was our slot there, and we have a Mir and Ren and Realmbreaker token. I know a lot of people really like the foil etching. I like it on certain things, but to be 100% honest, if a card has a borderless or extended version, I much prefer it over the foil etched. But I can understand why some people would want the foil etched, as of course we have seen the foil etched cards not curl as much as other foils, so definitely a plus there. I think the one big thing for the companions in this set is some of the companion cards actually have the actual rules text on them, which is going to be very helpful for people who didn't get to play with the set of the Ikoria set originally. Very Mastermind, a card that's getting a lot of talk online for its ability to draw cards when your opponent draws cards. It looks kind of like an interesting card with our world champion on it. Deeproot Wayfinder, new Merfolk. Deals damage to a player or battle, surveil one, then return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Feels on brand for what the Merfolk are trying to do, especially those Ixalan vampires. You can see that Merfolk, or sorry, the Ixalan Merfolk, that definitely is the art is very akin to one of those Ixalan Merfolk, and I'm very intrigued to see what we see from the Merfolk when we go back to Ixalan later this year. Interdisciplinary Mascot. Convoke, ward 3 when there's a battlefield. Look at the top 4, put one of them into your hand, the rest on the bottom. Big creature, kind of interesting for sure. We see Zara, Hedron Grinder, a very popular commander in its own right, getting that beautiful Zendikar Rising frame. Here we go. One of my favorite commanders, a Modi Celebrant of Bounty. This is the foil edge version. I think a lot of people have really mixed feelings on the Amonkhet frame. I pulled one out of a set booster, and I have to say it looks a little bit better than I expected, but it does look interesting there. Oh, there we go. Ancient Imperiosaur foil extended art. This is a card I'm very excited for, of course, not only for the Michael Claw deck, but for plenty of others. This is a great card, and being able to convoke for it and make it huge is something I'm excited to play with. And our last card is Aurelia the War Leader. This is just a standard foil, but of course, Aurelia, pretty interesting card, of course, for most Boros decks, because it gives you that second combat each turn. Of course, a great target for things that can copy creatures, so it'll give you infinite combats if you can do it that way. But love the art. I love the Ravnica frame. I think it looks so cool, and the one thing I realized with the frame is you get to see the two colors of the creature on each relative side of them, since so much of Ravnica is a 2-color set. I think that's pretty cool. I'd love to see some more Ravnica Legends get that frame maybe in the future, or maybe we'll go back to Ravnica at some point. Invasion of Kamigawa. I don't believe the collector boosters are 1 battle per pack guaranteed, but every other pack you open, whether it be a set or a draft booster, will be 1 battle confirmed per. And we have Evasion of Ixalan as our rare here. Then we have Rampaging Raptor, a very dinosaur-heavy collector booster box so far. Hopefully we get to see Galton Mavrin as well. Another cool dino here, giving us some more bodies for Gishath, and hopefully for some potential new dinosaur stuff we have coming, and a card I'm very happy to see, Wand of the World. So this is my pick for this set. If you play a lot of tokens deck, or you play a lot of Spells Matter sets, decks that are in white, I recommend picking up this card. I think this card's going to get fairly expensive. This bottom ability, giving the next spell you cast Convoke, I think is going to become really important, because it's going to let you cheat out a bunch of really interesting spells just by being able to tap your creatures. And this is a card that is going in multiple decks, so very happy to see that. Jury Master of the Review. Again, we get to see that beautiful Ravnica frame, black and red there for the Rakdos. Love the look of that card. Ooh. Wrath with a Light Star. We saw that earlier in the opening in its showcase frame. And Glistening Dong. You put X twice, where X is the number of lands you control. I think this card's kind of interesting. Not sure exactly how to feel about it yet. but I think it could be interesting in the right deck. Here we go, following up our jury with Judith, the Scourge Diva, and that beautiful Ravnica frame in the Rakdos colors. Very interesting card in its own right. It's used in some strategies, and another incubator token. Well, of course, the hope for this opening is that we see a serialized card. If we get a serialized card, it is only going to be in that last slot. So, of course, that's the hope that we have. I think I'm happy already, to be 100% honest. Getting that Jin Gataxias, seeing the Wand of the World Soul, seeing the Imperious Stars makes me really happy. We see Invasion of New Phyrexia, a card that I'm excited to try out in some token decks, making tokens, that many night tokens, and then when you defeat the battle, turns into Teferi. Of course, of Zhalfir, interesting planeswalker there, and then another card I'm excited to get, City on Fire. Can convoke it out in those token decks. And it says whenever a source you control will deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage instead. So we get a card akin to some of those really popular red triple enchantments, but this one gets Convoke, which I think makes it even more playable for most people. Dance with Calamity from the Commander set. This card's getting a lot of talk online for being just a fun, random, chaosy type card, and I love it. We see Rayav, Master Smith, in that kind of Inventions-looking frame right there. And we get it back to back in the foil etch. It's kind of interesting. I really love the look of this Inventions frame. Oh my gosh. There it is. We'll take a look at the card behind it because that is pretty cool. We get Taigam, Ochtai Master, out of our Multiverse Legend set, and we got it. We got a serialized card that's so cool. We got Urabrask. Look at that art. It is so pretty. I honestly didn't really expect to get one, and I think it's so cool that we got one. Of course, for those that don't know, all of the Praetors are available in serialized, just like all of the Multiverse Legends are available in serialized versions. But for the Praetors, they all have their own specific arts just for the serialized. So this is Urabrask serialized, and that is so pretty. I've gone back and forth on putting Urabrask in a couple of decks, but that is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to sleeve this up right away because this is a very valuable card, and I don't want to hurt that one. Urabrask, serialized. I'm so happy, guys. That was my hope. I was really hoping for Jin Gataxias. It's the one that I'm looking forward to playing the most. And then the second one after that was going to be Elesh Norn, just because I think it's a card that's going to see so much play in token decks and decks like that. But man, serialized Urabrask. I'm so happy. Invasion of Asgol, a plane that really only got referenced in Plane Chase. Kind of interesting there. Battle. Foil Island. Not too many forests yet, which makes me kind of sad, but love seeing the lands here. Again, I've said multiple times in the past, I wish the full art basics were in every pack of set and draft as well. But they're not, and that's okay, but I will happily click them. Here we go, Gul'dan Mavrin. I actually already opened a bundle myself, and I have a bundle coming up on the channel. So we already have the promo version of Gul'dan Mavrin, but there's the regular foil. Drawn on Linvala to go with our foil one we got before. Guardian Scale Lord from the Commander decks. Kind of an interesting card. Whenever the creature attacks, returning something with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield where X is this creature's power. I think this could also be a good card in any deck that can blink it all. Have it come back in and be able to, get some things back from the graveyard. It's kind of cool. Valduk, Keeper of the Flame, in that pretty Dominaria frame. There we go, regular foil etched Zadahedron Grindar, kind of an interesting card there. Oh man, this box cannot quit, friends. This is a card I'm very excited to brew around. This deck's going to be going up on the channel next week. Rashmi and Ragavan, extended art foil. I am very excited to brew around this card. I actually am thinking about changing my Emodia Cascade deck into this deck. You'll hear more about that next week, but man, what a cool card. Ragavan coming in the set multiple times, not on this card, on its own card of the Multiverse Legends, and then on Brawl and Karizev as a token. But love this card. This card is, of course, getting a lot of talk online for being a very interesting Treasures Matter card. And I've been looking for a good Treasure Matter deck, and I didn't realize that the whole time what I needed was just a good Teamer commander for it. And our last card is Captain Lannery Storm, a great reprint from Ixalan. So we get to see this beautiful Ixalan frame here. It's probably one of my favorite showcase frames they introduced for the new set. I really love Atali. I got to pull an Atali out of my bundle, and I love the look of that. Love the look of this Ixalan frame. Of course, we get to see it on Gul'dan Mavrin, which is the deck I did a deck tick for on the channel a week or two ago. But love to see it on Captain Lannery Store, a very popular card for those treasure strategies, as it gives you a treasure every time you attack. stoked to see that. Again, I love this coin showcase frame. I'm excited to see what we can do with it as we get to go back to Ixalan later this year and see what new stuff we have in Ixalan. Drop down in the comments if you've gone this far what you think we'll see in Ixalan. I'm hoping for a new dinosaur commanders, maybe a different space than Gishath. I'm hoping for maybe a new merfolk commander. We'll see though. Basic foil mountain. Tribute to the World Tree, a card that I'm really excited about. We get kind of a pseudo reprint of Elemental Bond, but with the stapling of getting 2+1/+1 counters on it. If not, I think this card is going to be bonkers in Elves deck. This is probably going to be bonkers in Chatterfang. There's a bunch of decks that I think this goes straight into, and it's going to be pretty tough to deal with. There we go. Omnath, Locust of all Omnath is finally in 5 colors. Gets that Phyrexian black band in the middle, and of course gets its printing in that beautiful showcase Zendikar Rising frame. Next up, we have Liliana's Talent from the Commander cards. Again, another one of these Enchant Planeswalker cards. This one's kind of cool, giving you a pseudo Rise of the Dark Realms effect for that -8. And then whenever a creature deals damage to Enchanted Planeswalker, destroy that creature. Kind of interesting. I'm excited to see what that does. And there he is, Yargle Bargle, Glutton of Urborg in the foil etched frame. Pretty cool. Or sorry, that's the regular frame, just foil. We see Valdic in its foil etched frame right there. And then we see Elspeth's Talent, another one of the Commander Talent cards. This is probably the one I'm the most interested in. It says whenever +1, just make 3 soldier creature tokens. So this is Elspeth's ability on that Planeswalker. But then it says whenever you activate a loyal ability of Enchanted Planeswalker, creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain Vigilance. I think this is going to be one of those cards that's going to end up being really popular in token decks if you're playing enough Planeswalkers to make this worth it, because then you're just going to make your board even better for the things you're doing. This makes me really want to take another stab at my Kethis Super Friends list that I had up on the channel a while back, but I lament on that. And our last card is Anafenza Kin Tree Spirit. Love this Tarkir frame. Love seeing some of these Tarkir cards come back. Tarkir is one of my favorite planes of all time we've been to, and I love seeing some of these cards come back. And that is Anafenza Kin Tree Spirit. Well, we've only seen one Halo foil so far, and I think I'm okay with that now that we pulled a serialized Urabrask. So cool. I love it. I have no hope for getting a second one, of course. Probably not going to happen. But I think I'm very happy with what we've got so far. Night in Arvios as our regular foil rare. Boonbringer Valkyria, an interesting card with backup. What I think I really like about this backup here is that you can give that flying first strike and lifelink to another creature. I think it will come a lot in handy. I put up a deck list a week or so back for Shalai and Halar, and I think this card could be kind of interested for it. I went back and forth on that deck, but it's a deck I'm hoping to tinker around with. And we see Emergent Woodworm, another backup card from that call for backup deck. This card's pretty cool. Whenever the creature attacks, look at the top X cards where X is its power. You put the permanent X less on the battlefield. What's kind of cool is you get this kind of Genesis Hydra effect, and you can do it multiple times. You get the backup first to put it on another creature, and then whenever Woodworm attacks, it gets that ability as well. I think the backup mechanic seems pretty cool. Getting a regular foil from the Fang Bear. Furia, Judge of Valor, kind of an interesting card there. The showcase is kind of cool. And then we have Aaron and Giada from the set. This one just went up this week. Kind of an interesting card there. We see Zerda the Dawn Waker. This is our reprint of the companions, and you can see there these actually contain the reminder text for the companion, which is pretty cool. But it's cool to see all of the companions get a reprint and get a reprint with that pretty Ikoria comic book artwork. A lot of them look really cool. I'm glad that they all got a reprint. The Luris one looks pretty cool. All of them look pretty cool, but I'm mainly just glad that they all got a reprint, effective reprint here, and they're going to be available because, of course, as we've seen so far, there's foil etched versions of them running around, there's regular versions of them running around, there's the foils. So hopefully that makes them a little bit easier for people to get that want them. Invasion of Moag comes in, put a counter on each creature you control, and on the back of being your end step, put a counter on target creature you control with Ward 2. Kind of an interesting card. I don't know how many token decks actually play it. Maybe this is a card for something like Hamza, something that really cares about those +1/+1 counters. You see Jero and Hazoret, kind of an interesting pair up from Monket there. Another Glistening Dawn, this time in regular non-foil. And we see Rowan's Talent, another one in extended art. We see Dina Soul Steeper. This is a card that's always kind of interested me. We're gonna have a deck list for this coming up on the channel here in a few weeks, but such a cool card. Again, love seeing that Strixhaven frame on creatures. We get a foil etched Yargle Bargle, Glutton of Urborg, There we go. Foil Thalia the Gitrog in the Gitrog monster. What a great card. It's so cool. Love seeing Thalia get paired up with a foe I never expect she'd get paired up with in the Gitrog monster. And this is such a cool card. Josh may want to fight me for this one. He's pretty excited to build that. Actually, his list just went up this week on the channel. If you're all interested in the idea of Thalia and the Gitrog monster, Voltron, go check out that deck list. He definitely put some love into that. And then Kenrith the Return King in Foil Etched Mythic. Kind of an interesting card. Kenrith is a commander that I think is always garnered a lot of love for being a 5-color commander. Of course, from Eldraine originally. The showcase frame for that is actually pretty cool. It's a pretty cool card. We get a Foil Forest. Invasion of Arcavios. This is kind of an interesting card. On the front side, lets you get a from your library graveyard or outside the game for an instant or sorcery and put it into your hand. And then the backside is kind of a double vision effect whenever you cast an instant or sorcery. Well, kind of better than that, right? Because whenever you cast one from your hand, you copy it. So this is a battle I'm intrigued to try in some spell swinging decks to see if it actually works out. And if it doesn't, then it might just be it might be worth the squeeze in the right decks, but maybe not in every spell swinging deck. Card that I am excited to try out in one or two of the decks I currently have roaming around is Chrome Host Siege Shark. This is a kind of an effective reprint of Shark Typhoon, but instead of giving you tokens, it gives you incubate tokens, which are these little artifacts that come in with a certain amount of counters on them. And for this it's X where that spell's mana value, and then for any time you can turn them over into Phyrexian tokens. I think this card's going to see a lot of play in a lot of different decks, but I'm sure it's going to see play in a lot of these convoking decks. I'm excited to use this in one or two of the decks that I have that use Galazeth, because Galazeth can tap those incubate or tokens for mana, or you can flip them over into creatures. So I'm excited to try out that card. Schema Thief, of course, that also goes in the Rashmi and Ragavan deck that we saw earlier. Schema Thief is a card that's seeing a pretty high price at the moment for its pretty interesting effect. When it deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of target artifact that player controls. This seems really interesting because the better the artifacts your opponents have, I think the better this card becomes. Get a mana crypt, get a lot of things depending on what your opponents have in front of them. We see Timurit, Chosen from Death. All right, we see Adina Soulsteeper, and that is in the Halo foil. Such a pretty card there. Again, I'm excited to brew around Dina because it's a card. This Witherbloom strategy from Strixhaven is always a deck that I've kind of wanted to build, and I just haven't found the right playline yet. So now that Dina's got a pretty reprint, I definitely have a want to try it. We see Pylon. Pretty cool new card here, Convoke to destroy a creature in Seville 2. I'm sure some decks will be able to cast this for free. If not, you'll cast it for pretty cheap. Kind of an interesting card. I'm intrigued to see how much play it sees. And then our last card, man, this box does not stop giving. Man, this is such a good box. I'm so happy. Arithmeses, the Slumbering Isle, and his Constellation frame. This is a card that I've been wanting for this frame when I saw it, because I use Arithmeses in a couple decks, but such a pretty Constellation frame. I actually didn't even know it was on Theros until I saw this frame. And what a pretty frame it is. Well, guys, let me know down in the comments what you think of this opening. I think we got so many cool things in this opening. There's so many cool things we pulled, but I think obviously the thing that wins it out is our Serialized Urabrask. What a cool card. It's going to take a big decision for me to decide whether or not to sell this one or keep it, because I think it is pretty cool. There we go, 319 out of 500. As far as the other personal pulls I'm really excited about, of course, Wand of the World Soul, going to go in plenty of other decks. Love that Imperiosaur. Pretty excited to put that one. That's going to go in a couple decks for sure as well. And then that beautiful foil Jin Gataxias is going in a couple decks as well. Love the look of that one. Love that new frame. Following the Gitrog, great pull. That card's going for some good money right now because it is a great card, and I am really excited about this Rashmi and Ragavan. Again, that deck will be coming out next week on the channel. I'm excited to see what you guys think of my brew for Rashmi and Ragavan, but I will end the video on this pretty Urabrask. If you have yet to see them, I believe Reddit people have posted photos of all of the different serialized Praetors because they have different art, but there is Urabrask. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back next week for not only more brews on my Gold Tout Brew Your Favorite Magic channel, but for more openings next week when I get the rest of my product in. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.